It was a regular Tuesday morning when Joe, the office cat, walked in. No one knows where he came from. Some say he was sent from the heavens of caffeine. Others believe he simply appeared out of nowhere. Either way, he strutted into the break room like he owned the place, his tail high and his eyes full of secrets. And when he jumped onto the CEO's desk and stared him down, well, let's just say productivity levels skyrocketed. But don't ask how. No one quite understands how a cat can suddenly boost your sales targets in under 30 minutes. But we didn't question it. We just grabbed our coffee and watched him work his magic. It wasn't long before an employee, who shall remain nameless, thought it'd be a good idea to offer Joe some special catnip. Now, this wasn't your average catnip, no sir. This was magical catnip. The moment Joe took a sniff, reality itself seemed to warp. First, people started laughing uncontrollably. At nothing. It was like a comedy show they weren't even watching. Then, as if on cue, the vending machine started giving out snacks for free. Yep, you heard that right. Free snacks. Coincidence? I think not. We all stared, wide-eyed and munching on free chips, wondering if this was the beginning of a much bigger problem. And of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Or in Joe's case, zero responsibility. One day, the CEO's chair became Joe's throne. While everyone was busy trying to write that big email, Joe took matters into his own paws. He jumped onto the keyboard and typed out a masterpiece of an email to all the shareholders. And get this, it wasn't just about profits. It was brilliant. A perfectly written email that not only increased the company's stock, but also somehow, mysteriously, suggested we invest in catnip. The office was buzzing. Someone had finally cracked the code of corporate success. But they didn't know it was Joe pulling the strings. So there we were in an important meeting, trying to prepare a PowerPoint that would impress the board. But little did we know, Joe had other plans. While everyone was scrambling, Joe made his move. With one swipe of his paw, he knocked the mouse and keyboard onto the desk. The result? A flawless PowerPoint presentation. More beautiful than anything the design team could ever dream up. It had sleek visuals, motivational quotes, and even a chart showing how much we needed more cats in the office. And let's not forget the CEO's favorite quote, "Don't just work harder, work like a cat. Always lazy, yet somehow productive." Genius, right? We all had to admit, Joe was the best employee we'd ever had. Now, it's one thing to hack into corporate emails, but when Joe discovered the coffee machine was broken, that's when things really escalated. You see, Joe didn't just sit there and sulk like the rest of us. Oh no, he had a solution. With a flick of his tail, he summoned coffee. That's right, coffee appeared out of thin air. A perfect steaming cup, floating gently down into an employee's hands. No buttons, no machines, just pure magic. Soon, we were all lining up, whispering, "How did he do that?" But we weren't brave enough to ask. Joe had the kind of power that demanded respect, and a lot of coffee. But all good things must come to an end. One fateful day, Joe had had enough of the office life. He jumped onto the rooftop, looked out at the city, and with a dramatic flare, poof, employees started teleporting left and right. One moment, Steve was at his desk. The next, he was in Hawaii, sipping a pina colada. And then Karen? She was suddenly in the coffee shop across the street, still holding her notebook. Everyone had become part of Joe's grand escape plan. He had taken us on the most ridiculous office adventure anyone had ever experienced. And when it was all over, we realized something. Joe the office cat wasn't just a magical being. He was the perfect disaster. And so, Joe left. Just like that. Without warning, he disappeared one day. Some say he went to start a catnip empire. Others think he's running a coffee company somewhere in the city. But we'll never know for sure. What we do know is that the office hasn't been the same since. We still have free snacks occasionally, and every now and then, someone claims to hear mysterious meowing from the break room. But if you listen closely, you'll realize Joe wasn't just a cat. He was the legend we never asked for, and probably didn't deserve.